Hello, everyone. This is RJ Dub here. So, the reason I'm making this video and hopefully making other videos like this in the future is that I recently got my CD drive working on my PC. Because I just assumed it didn't work when I bought it, that it was just a dud. But the other day when I opened it up to clean it out with some dust cleaner, some compressed air, I saw that it was actually just disconnected. It wasn't even connected in the first place. So I got it fixed, and today I went down to a local thrift store and bought some music albums from some artists that seem like they either never got big or maybe they're just like underground and or maybe they're local and stuff like that. And so this first band that I'm reviewing are called Bacon and Egg. And the name of this album is called Bacon and Egg Are Fanduvo. And you can see the album right here. It's got some bitchin' art, not gonna lie. Like I think it looks pretty cool. Um and the particular reason why I chose this as one of the CDs that I wanted to buy was there in the inside the cover slip there's a bunch of thanks and everything and crew and everything that works on it. And if you look at some of the credits in that top portion there, you'll see one of the people credited is named Retardo Montalban. And that tickled me. That tickled me good, which is the reason why I chose it just because I just got a good laugh out of it. So this is a blind review. I have not listened to anything yet. Just gonna listen to the entire album from start to finish. I might skip around tracks. I'm definitely gonna fast forward and stuff, and I'll pause and talk about certain tracks that I think are noteworthy, or tracks that I like, or tracks that I think are funny. Because again, I have no idea how this is gonna sound at all. This could be a comedy album for all I know. It could be unintentionally bad or intentionally bad. 'Cause I know nothing about these guys. They also have a website here called baconandegg.net, which there we go. As you can see, it's pretty modern, as you can tell here. They got a Facebook too. They got some links here: albums, merch, photos, press, contact. These are the only two albums they have available. So as you can see here, the Bacon and Egg Our Fanduvo is one of them, and then the other album is All in One Basket. There's merch section. You can buy shirts, skateboard, and the two albums. Here's photos of the band, Bacon Egg Biscuit. Here's them performing a set. This is their media liaison, and I assume this is their manager wearing the Slavic tracksuit. Should I? You know, at least for these two, I think I'll censor out their faces because I don't know if they want to be associated with anything. I'll at least give exposure to the band, since I am using their music to make this video. And then these. Oh my! Oh, look at this color. Oh my lord, that is hurting my eyes. Okay, like some links to interviews they did, and then a contact page, which is super modern as you can see. These Microsoft Paint skills are off the charts. But yeah, so I'm gonna pull up. I can't get the CD to work in VLCs, so I'm gonna have to use the old classic Windows Media Player. But yeah, here's the track list. This album is also from 2004. I forgot to mention. You probably saw that already when I showed the inner sleeve. But in any case, yeah, let's get into it and let's listen. All right, and that was track one. Um, I just want to know real quick on Windows Media Player. It's titled Intro, but on the back cover here, the track list, it's titled as Track Two. So maybe they decided to rename it. Maybe they named it track 2 at first as like a little like tongue-in-cheek kind of thing, but then they decided that it wasn't going to work, and they decided to rename it as intro. But yeah, strong start so far. I liked it. I thought it sounded pretty good. But yeah, so let's now go on to track 2, which is titled "My Mind Keeps Thinking of the Thoughts in My Mind." All right, so track 2.
My mind keeps thinking of the thoughts in my mind, baby. My mind.
All right, so that was track 2. My mind keeps thinking of the thoughts in my mind. Yeah, pretty interesting. Nothing too bad. I wouldn't say that it's great or anything either. It's pretty average. One thing that I want to note so far is that this album does sound pretty clean so far. It does sound pretty well produced. The mixing is pretty good. The mastering is pretty good. Yeah, you can hear everything. You can hear the vocals clearly. You can hear the instruments clearly. You can hear the drum track clearly. One thing I want to note real quick is that there is no drummer. The percussion that you hear in this album is a drum machine, which is programmed by who I assume is supposed to be Egg. His name is Bob Marshall. Chris Bacon does vocals and organ, and then Biscuit is a featured vocalist on a few of the tracks and backing tracks on a couple other tracks. I'll probably put. Should I put? I don't know. But yeah, so that track was all right. I am digging what I'm hearing so far on this album. So let's move on now to track 3, which is titled "Formerly D11."
Because it's formerly D11. D11, 11.
Yeah, all right. Probably the weakest track so far, even though it did start off kind of promising with the drum beat. Yeah, I don't know what else to say. It was just pretty repetitive. It was pretty much just the same thing for 3.5 minutes straight. The vocals didn't really help because all they just kept saying over and over again was "formerly D11, 11, 11," and then just changing it up a tiny bit by going, "It's just formerly D11, y'all." Yeah, it sounds like they're trying some kind of new metal thing here, like kind of sounds like they're trying to like a cross between like Cake and like Limp Biscuit or something like that. Yeah, pretty weak track in my honest opinion. Yeah, and that was formerly D11. Now we move on to Monsters of Rock, track number 4.
Mother spaceship. Have you seen Grandma's brand new hip? She's walking fine now with hairdo.
Okay, that was something. A bit stronger than the previous track, but not by much. It sounded very heavily inspired by Talking Heads. I just want to point out, occasionally you'll see me looking down and opening this up just to look at some of the personnel that worked on some of these tracks. Just want to note that in this track, the featured vocalist is named Biscuit. It's not the previous main vocalist. Yeah, it sounded very inspired by Talking Heads, like with the way he sings like this, it's like something, like, yeah, it sounded like cross between Talking Heads and B-52s a bit in the way that he sang. There was this synth solo halfway through that was not mixed very well. Mixing on the synth is not good. Either it wasn't mixed well or it was recorded like garbage in the first place, and the mixing didn't really help it at all. It sounded like they just stuck a microphone like in the corner of a room and recorded the synthesizer from the other side of the room. It did not sound very good. But yeah, although stronger than formerly D11, not very much. Yeah, this track was it was a little bit mediocre. But now, based on the title of this next track alone, I have a feeling I'm not gonna like it. It's titled "Bling Bling in a Lincoln Continental." So let's move ahead. Track 5, "Bling Bling in a Lincoln Continental."
I'm bling blinging in a Lincoln Continental. I'm going sick, yo, I'm going freaking mental. Cause it's gold with the black leather seats. Got a Clarion stereo.
I'm just gonna stop. I'm stopping it right before the end. This is definitely the worst track so far. Oh my lord. Wow. The track was kind of promising at first. I mean, the beat sounded a bit dry, a bit uninspired, but it was an interesting riff. When the guitar riff came in, it was kind of interesting. But oh my lord, the white rapping in this track. Good lord. Like, so far, like, they have the instrumentals down right. Like, they have some interesting instrumentals, I think, that they could work with. But so far, the vocals have been the absolute worst thing so far on this album. I can't finish. I'm 20 seconds away from the end, but I just gotta stop there because it's awful. It's so awful, this one. Title of the next track doesn't make it seem like it's gonna be much better. Alright, let's move on to track number 6, Straight Up Jam Party. Track number 6. Oh my god, what is going on? What is going on? I'm gonna skip ahead, hold on. Okay, I think from this point on, I'm just gonna start skipping ahead through tracks, because I can't listen to all of this. Okay, that's enough of that. Wow, okay. It started off bad and it didn't get better. That's all I'm gonna say about this track. I'm just moving straight on. I got nothing to say about that one, good lord. Okay, we're moving on to track 7. Stains on the window pane, parentheses, that's the beat that rocks the house, close print. Good lord. Okay. Let's go. Let's continue on. Okay, sounds like they're just recording a drum machine in a room now instead of a direct input. Because, okay, I'm going to pause right here. If you have a drum machine, it sounds like it's being recorded somewhat professionally. Like, it sounds like there's some bit of professionalism in it. I assume they have a mixer. I assume that they have quarter-inch cables. I assume that they have XLR inputs. I assume that they have professional audio equipment. So there's no reason to record the drum machine on a microphone. Most drum machines have ways to do direct input into a mixer, either through a jack or through an XLR. Like, most drum machines have that input, so there's no reason to record it on a microphone. Sorry. I digress. Let's continue on with the track.
That's the beat that rocks the house, y'all. Steal the beat, I'm gonna steal your seat, say, come on.
Like, I don't understand why they kept going with, like, this new metal chanting rap style with all of the vocals so far in this album. But this album started off so promising at first. Like, for me personally, it started off as a 7 with those first 2 tracks. Like, it was pretty promising, but it's just been a steep slope downwards ever since. Like, and they just, it sounds competently produced. That's the baffling thing about this so far, is that it sounds like they had something pretty good. Like, the instrumental on this, besides my little, my small little rant about the drum machine not being recorded properly, like, there's ways to, like, the instrumental sounds okay. It sounds decent enough, but then they're just, I don't know. I'm just gonna move on to the next track now. Scent of Ben Gay. Oh my lord. Track number 8, Scent of Ben Gay. Let's get into it.
Sit tight, sweatpants fit nice. Rolled up quite right with the flavor ice. Can you see the fog in his brain? Do you smell the scent?
Wow, okay. Track started off promising. I thought that was interesting, like the drum machine starting off at a slow tempo, and then they increased the tempo gradually and gradually. I thought that was neat. The guitar part, I think, was the strongest by far in this album. Like, it was pretty cool. The vocals also did work a little bit up until that halfway point where Biscuit started going, just started wailing like a maniac. And also at the end there, like, besides those two, I felt the vocal performance wasn't bad. It was pretty average, pretty mediocre. Like, it wasn't like anything terrible, I felt, except for those 2 parts. This is definitely the strongest track since track 3, formerly D11. Yeah, I don't know. I don't really have much else to say about it. Let's go on to the next track, which, again, based on the title, I'm feeling as if I'm not gonna like this one either. So this is track number 9, Suburban Hustler. Let's get into it. I just want to say this sounds like I've heard this beat before. It kind of sounds like one of the stock drum beats that comes on my Casio WK3000 keyboard, which is an old, you know what? That keyboard came out in 2004. Are they using a Casio? Are they just using the drum beats from a Casio? In any case, that I've heard that beat somewhere before. That exact beat, and I'm about 90% sure that it's from a Casio keyboard. I'm pretty sure of it. But anyways, let's continue on with the track. Also, I just want to note, those record scratch sounds, it sounds like somebody doing it with their mouth, just going whoosh, 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 whoosh. Yeah, something like, I don't, just listen. That's totally somebody just making that noise with their mouth. Like, they couldn't get a turntable to make the record scratch sounds themselves. So he just got on the mic and started going. Wow. Okay, sorry. Continuing on.
You'll say, what's up, bro? He rides his bike like a tiger that's on the loose. And as he gets closer, you'll see it's a mongoose. He goes town to town, up and down on the streets of suburbia is where he's found now.
Oh my lord. You'll see, it's actually a mongoose. I mean, I can't. I'm trying to decide whether or not that was actually kind of clever or if that was actually like just a really bad. Because I know I'm aware Mongoose is a brand of bike. I'm aware of that. Don't fucking start getting your underpants in a tizzy thinking I'm misunderstanding it. I know what a mongoose is. I just can't tell if that was genuinely clever or just fucking stupid. But sorry, let's go back a little bit and let's continue forward.
He's in the place to be and he's out all night. All the fresh ladies think he's out of sight, whether at the mall or at the drive-in theater. His Walkman's pumping 11 on the meter. He's got mad moves and a sense of...
Again, so okay, this track had one interesting part, and that was like that guitar part near the middle section there, like about right there where it started going like that. That was a pretty interesting part. That was a pretty interesting idea. My voice keeps cracking while I'm recording this. I have no idea why. Am I going through a second puberty? Or am I finally going through my first puberty? I don't know. But in any case, yeah, just... I just don't think I have anything else to say about this. The vocal performance is bad. They're using a stock drum beat from a Casio keyboard. Let's just move on to track... I think this is track 10. Yeah, track 10, Ajax Hole. I don't know what to make of that title. I don't know if they're talking about Ajax, like the brand of bleach, or if they're talking about Ajax, the Greek? Roman? Whichever one. Like the god of strength. I think it's Roman god of strength. I can't remember. Anyways, track number 10, Ajax Hole. I think I've heard all that track has to offer. Yeah, this one's actually a pretty decently strong track. It was pretty interesting, especially that organ part in the middle there. Like I liked that. That sounded that was a pretty nice change up, especially from the rest of the album. Yeah, this track it's kind of repetitive, kind of repeats the same material over and over again, but it's overall, I think this track is probably one of the strongest I've heard so far on this album. If they just made more tracks like this that didn't feature vocals, no, that's mean. But no, if they just made more tracks like this, I probably would be enjoying this album a lot more than I have. Yeah, so I think I'm ready to move on to the next track number 11, Anastasia. Let's listen.
She comes on like a sex machine. She's on Sony Music, the cover of a magazine. Tell her Dane's a great Dane compared to her, like a cat on my lap. I'm gonna make you purr. I'm so down with the photo gallery.
All right, I'm stopping it there. So again, some very interesting ideas instrumentally. The instrumental is pretty solid on this track, but the vocalist, it reminds me back in high school. One of my best friends on earth, his name is Jake. He's a way bigger music nerd than I am. He's probably one of the best musicians I've ever met. One of the most talented musicians as well. So I remember, he was into Sugar Hill Gang at one point, and he was able to recite all of Rapper's Delight by memory, and the way the vocalist here raps reminds me of my friend Jake, who, may I remind you, is one of the whitest people I have ever met in my life. The way it would sound when he would recite Rapper's Delight. That's what this vocalist reminds me of a white kid reciting a rap song made by black people. That is exactly what this vocalist performance reminds me of. But yeah, I guess that's all I gotta say on this track. Interesting ideas instrumentally, but the vocals and the lyrics and the performance of the vocals is extremely lackluster on par with being bad. So we're gonna move on to the penultimate track, "Sun on the Thundar," which is a pretty interesting track, and it's the shortest one so far. It's only just barely above 2 minutes. So yeah, let's listen to it. All right, I'm stopping it right there. Even after skipping ahead, I probably only listened to about a grand total of like 30 or 45. So just like all of the other tracks featuring this vocalist who they call Biscuit, you know, again, it kind of has that Talking Heads inspired sound to it. One pattern I'm noticing on these tracks is that these are always the most strongest tracks instrumentally. The backing track is always the most solid on all of these tracks that the vocalist is featured on. And he's also the strongest vocalist featured so far on this album. Even though he has like that same as September was, you know, like that that type of singing style, it's interesting. It's a lot better than the main vocalist, Bacon, because he just sounds like a white kid trying to sound like a black rapper, you know, and I think Biscuit has a much better vocal style. So we're gonna move on to the last track. Just the title of it alone is making me giggle. It's called "Totally Epic." It sounds like a track that would have been made in like 2011 or 2012 when that phrase had a large was largely popular on the internet. So yeah, let's listen to the final track, "Totally Epic." Oh boy. All right. I'm going to stop listening right there. Yeah. Another instrumental, some interesting ideas, but overall repetitive, just like some of the previous ones. Yeah, that's all I gotta say about that final track. So this album seems to be all over the place in terms of having a specific style. It keeps switching from being like new metal to that late 80s Talking Heads inspired sound to these repetitive instrumental tracks. Yeah. So, okay, so my final thoughts, like I said before, this album started off as a light to decent 7. Like personally, like bass, you know, like just sound like that's just how it's like how I perceived it. It sounded like it was going to be maybe like a lost gem, a diamond in the rough, if you will. But it just fucking fell off a cliff after that second track. Yeah. Yeah, I guess I can't fault these guys for, you know, getting together and writing an album and getting it produced and doing what I assumed was their lifelong dream. I will not fault them for that. I am 100% for that. I am glad they did that. I am glad they got that experience. They got that experience twice because they also released another album called All in One Basket, which I probably won't review, unless it's for sale at that thrift store. They have a Facebook page. I should probably look them up after I'm done recording this. But yeah, overall, I am going to rate this album, Bacon and Eggs or Fanduvo, a 3 out of 10. It's not the worst thing I've ever heard. It has some strong moments. It has some interesting ideas. But overall, a majority of the album fell flat, and it just sounded god-awful and terrible. Bacon and Egg, if you guys are watching this review, please don't take it personally. Because like I said, I think you guys have some interesting ideas. If you, well, I mean, this album was recorded in 2004. This is a 15-year-old album at this point, recorded September 28th and 29th. They recorded it in 2 days. So yeah, it was gonna have issues. You know, it was bound to have some issues if they only had 2 days to record all 13 tracks in 2 days. And I know, like, most people, yeah, some classic albums were recorded in one session. I'm aware of that. But those are so few and far between. Like, you have to be godlike savant musicians in order to be able to get a clean product in that short of an amount of time. You know, so, you know, if you guys, I don't know if you guys are still making music. If you are, you know, and if you have a fan base, I am so happy for you. I am proud of you. I am glad that you are able to do what you like, what you love, and that you're able to make a living off of it. If you're not, then don't take these criticisms personally, because I think you guys, if you decide to continue to make music, I think you have a lot of talent. I think you have some interesting ideas, and you just clean it up and hone it. It can sound, you guys can make some good stuff. So that's gonna be it for what am I even gonna title this series? Reviewing random thrift store music, I guess. I don't know. Yeah, I guess yeah. Reviewing random thrift store music, number 1, Bacon and Egg. 3 out of 10. If you want to support these guys, if you liked what you heard, I don't think I'm playing the entire album. Otherwise, it's gonna be like an hour-long plus video. But if you guys like what you heard, then go ahead and go to baconandegg.net and buy some merch. Buy a skateboard. That's some bitchin' artwork. That's actually cool artwork. This right here, that's cool. Buy a shirt with this cool artwork. You can even buy one of these 2 albums if they even still sell them. I'm not sure. But yeah, thanks everybody for watching. Yeah, and I'll see you guys in the next one, which I'm probably going to record immediately after this. So yeah, thanks for watching. Bye.